All right, guys. Well, we are live with Beyond the Woodline. I'm Joe DeHoyos. I'm the host, and I have my lovely co-host, Shannon Rogers. Shannon, say hi.
Hi, happy Halloween.
Yeah. And Shannon, you are with the Grim Fatale Paranormal, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. She's actually the first person that I went out with and did my first official paranormal investigation with. And we've been actually we were friends a little bit prior to that. It was the first time we actually met. And we've been good friends since then. So
I'm
she's
gonna
been doing the
drag him
show.
along on a lot more. He doesn't know it
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
she sure is. But I'm gonna drag her along for some Bigfoot stuff too.
yeah.
And so we have some special guests from the land down under for the Paranormal Adventures Australia. How you guys doing tonight or today for you guys? It's actually tomorrow for you guys. So that's pretty
Yes,
cool.
yes. So we had Halloween yesterday.
Okay, you already had today, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty cool.
But
So
all the kids have their candies now, so we're happy.
so real quick, we'll go around the room. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into the paranormal.
Okay. Well, my name is Sula. I'm the founder of Paranormal Adventures Australia. What got me into the paranormal is the experiences I had from a young child. So I started seeing things at 7, but most of them were negative things that I was seeing. And when I got into my teenage years, I wanted to understand why all of this was happening and did a bit of research. And back then we didn't have the internet, so it was through the libraries, through books, whatever I could find, and then of course the internet came in. And I learned about it, and I wanted to investigate. So therefore, I did some of that on my own, and then eventually became part of another paranormal team. And from there, it just came to being Paranormal Adventures Australia. So, that's how I got into it. This is Tim,
G'day.
part of the team.
So I've been doing paranormal stuff for a few years now. My interest was sparked with an experience I had when I was about 16. I wanted to know more. And just open to what is beyond our life, because I believe there's an extra layer there that we don't fully understand, and that's sort of my motivation behind doing what we do.
And this is Gemma.
Hi, I'm Gemma. Hey you guys. Yeah, that's basically what got me into the field. After my class, I thought I saw her, I'm not 100%, but it really sparked my interest into what else is out there. Is it just us or are there others? Um, yeah, so I've been with Paranormal Adventures Australia for about 2 years. Lucky enough to meet Sula and the team and
Sarah.
so I suppose everybody has those experiences that really intrigue you. So that's what I'm the same, had experiences and stuff. So I joined the field about 5 years ago, and I guess what really keeps me going is the education behind it, because a lot of people that come to paranormal are uneducated and find situations like that. So it's very um, important to me that people have that education and can move forward from experiences that aren't always the best.
We can't hear you, Joe.
I'm having trouble hearing both of y'all a little bit.
Okay.
Joe, you're on mute.
Okay. Yeah. I was on mute because I'm actually Monday's my birthday, so my kids and my daughter-in-law and my nephew and my niece, they threw me a party, so I'm doing it here at their house. I didn't know they were going to do it, and I was like, man, I'm doing a podcast tonight. My son's like, well, do it at our house, you know. I said, okay, cool, I'll do it at your house. So they're in the background, they're making a bunch of noise, they're laughing and just being silly. So I put myself on mute. But anyway, how long have you guys actually been a team, been doing your investigations together?
Together we've been doing it for about almost 2 years.
Okay.
And within that time frame, we've also the first team, or we do the Australian Paranormal Conference and Expo every year. So we get all paranormal investigators, psychic mediums, healers that will come from all over Australia and New Zealand to the conference.
Okay.
And we all, the public can come and meet them all, and If there's anybody that needs help or anything like that, they don't know who to go to, it's all there. And it's part of para-unity. We're big believers in para-unity, although it'll never be 100% that. We do try and unite the teams.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And do you guys have like locations there in more than just Melbourne, or do you travel all over Australia?
We tend to travel all over. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's not like a set locations where we investigate, but as a team, we go to lots of different locations.
Yeah, you guys are kind of breaking up a little bit. I guess it's probably the internet connection from so far away, but we'll make do with it. Where are some of your favorite locations that you investigate?
Oh, there's so many.
There's many, yeah.
I think Arrowdale was a big place for me. Like that.
Where's that one?
Arrowdale Lunatic Asylum is probably our favourite.
Oh yeah. Wait, why is that?
History.
Yeah.
There's so much history behind it.
But yeah, the activity there was just, it was a whole new experience for us. So I guess when you find that new experience when you're in the paranormal all the time, finding that new stuff is exciting and adrenaline rush. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I had an experience there where someone jerked my elbow, and then I got really angry and hot at the outside of my skin, and I wasn't feeling too good. And then later on, we figured out that they were the symptoms or the after effects of a lobotomy. So someone was trying to show me this is what I feel or what I felt. It was amazing.
What is the history of this place?
I guess it kind of is the same history with all the asylums in Australia. They're all kind of linked together. So they did some really, really messed up stuff. A lot of them were doing the lobotomies and stuff like that. Obviously, back in the days when people were diagnosed with mental health issues, it was for things like menstrual issues, epilepsy, all that type of stuff. So a lot of people were suffering for no reason.
Oh, okay.
They were put in there, yeah.
And, they used to do things with the dead, like just wheel them outside and leave them outside until Melbourne could come get them. And, yeah, it's pretty insane.
Those asylums can give you some crazy, crazy energy and experiences that can affect you big time, like emotionally, and especially if any of your guys are empaths and stuff like that. It's just it takes a toll, but they're also the adrenaline from it too. You're like, it creeps you out, but that's why part of the reason why we do it is we want that rush. And like I've jumped out of airplanes and didn't get anything from it, but if I hear something getting thrown by me, I'm like, yes, do it again.
We also have 2 public locations where the public can come and investigate with us. And they also ghost tours. So we have like a little settlement of part of Victoria that was put together. So there's a church, a school, a doctor's house, a pub. There's 40 buildings involved in that, and everybody has fun when we go there. It's like the spirits know us; they know we're there. And then we also have a Shamrock Hotel in Bendigo in rural Victoria, and that's an iconic 4-story hotel. The top floor is untouched, it's raw, and there's a lot of activity there in both of them. But we also do episodes where we will go and investigate various locations, sometimes with other teams, and we will, we put all that together, we'll put it up on our YouTube channel for people to see what we get up to. And at the same time, we try to educate people on the do's and don'ts of it all, and
Right.
paranormal is coming into the field,
Had to be respectful to spirits.
Yeah.
That's real important. A lot of people don't understand. It's just like, you are kind of in control on how the investigation is going to go and what interactions you have and attachments and all that stuff. So you have to respect the spirits and keep everyone safe, and then just respect. So I would like to go down to Australia and investigate. I've got a whole list of places I want to go now. That's awesome.
Yeah, have you guys been outside of Australia
No,
to do any kind of investigations? Okay.
not as yet,
Well,
but it is on the cards.
Yeah, well, Australia's got actually got a very rich history. People look at like the European countries, but Australia's got just as rich history as anyone else, especially when it comes to a lot of traumatic events. I don't think people realize that. Um, like here in the United States, we have Gettysburg, and it's a place where one of the big Civil War places, Civil War battles took place, and that's like a real famous outdoor area to go and get paranormal uh, activity. I mean, people have seen like apparitions walking in the field. People have actually seen like soldiers and thought it was like an actor because they do like a reenactment there every year or whatever. And so people have seen soldiers there and they thought there were soldiers out there doing like a reenactment. Um, they've seen like the muzzle flash. Do you guys ever see any of that stuff too, or have a place like that you guys like to investigate?
I think you're right. Australia's history is so rich. So a lot of the different places we go to, we do see apparitions and stuff.
We don't really have any sort of war.
Yeah.
We do have the memorials, but nowhere that we've actually taken place of actual war. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anywhere really here. Although we do have the history, we don't have a lot of history that the rest of the world's got, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at Shamrock Hotel, for example, which is a very amazing place and very rich with history, and you can get the old miners and stuff that comes out there and in your echo box or whatever. So that's really crazy and exciting to see and hear.
I think especially in Victoria, we've got a lot of gold mining. We've got a lot of old gold mining towns.
Yeah.
That type of thing there. So that's probably what a lot of our paranormal is based on.
You said mining, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it was kind of breaking up. Yeah, a lot of people died in those mines. So yeah, absolutely.
And they were actually
Quite interesting.
Yeah. A lot of horrible things actually happen in mining camps. It's not all sunshine and
Then we
roses.
have and we also have the history of our Indigenous people. So there's thousands of years before white men stepped on this land that there is a lot of history and we come across that as well. So a lot of the times we do respect it and ask elders to help out. Part of the Indigenous elders. We've got a lot of cemeteries, very old cemeteries as well, that we go to, hotels, very old hotels or pubs, jails that have not been in use for many years, which we investigate as well. I think a lot of the land, just going back to the Indigenous, well, a lot of the land is actually still very protected by the elders, by that area. Got to be able to have that connection with the elders. Still a lot out there that we can get into yet.
Right.
And we're not that interested in doing the places that everybody's already done.
Right.
There's the land is so big. There's hauntings everywhere. So we've done all of that. Now we're looking at other things. We even investigate private homes. And we get more activity, say, in one home than we can in a 200-year-old pub.
I met a friend.
No, go ahead, Shannon. Go ahead.
I met a lady last night at the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum, where I did an investigation there last night, and she lives in that small town in Louisiana, and she was telling me, I'm talking really small town. The only excitement is the train coming through, but they live on they live on a dead end road. And then there's just nothing out there. Well, her and her kids decide to go for a walk, and her fiance, they go off into the woods, and it's different kind of woods. We can actually get through the trees, kind of like Blair Witch looking. But they get back in there, and all of a sudden they find these old, like, abandoned homes, and that would just, I was automatically, just right there when she was showing me the camera, there was a piece of wood that was moving back and forth, and she said there was no wind or anything, and it was right there at the door, and I was like, it was telling them, don't come in, I don't want you in here. So in about a month, I think I'm planning we're gonna go out there for the weekend and have a big barbecue, and then one night go out there and investigate that stuff. So I'm like super excited because it's untouched. It's absolutely untouched. So I know what you're talking about, because I'm getting kind of burnt out on the things that everybody's doing. I want to explore and just that's why I like going in blind, knowing nothing. But yeah, the excitement of going into somewhere new that's abandoned, and even if it does not even haunted, just getting that abandoned experience. So those are fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, you mentioned like the. I was gonna say, you mentioned like the indigenous people there. Here in the United States, we have like the Native Americans, and they don't always let outsiders in. How was it like down there with the indigenous people?
It's very much the same. So a lot of the time, very sacred ground, which there is a lot of it. To get onto it, you have to have connections to get in with the elders, to get the permission to then investigate that location. And of course, you have to be respectful at every moment of that. So we actually investigated at Balkix Town, one of our regular locations. We have an Indigenous background there. So we are very respectful of that and mindful of that. It's a traumatic experience that has happened for the Indigenous people, and the Indigenous people that are still living now have that repercussion still. So it's just about being very, very respectful and mindful of the history for them, and accepting the fact that the Europeans did make a mistake in what they were doing.
Yeah. We do have an Aboriginal team member now that has a connection to that place as well, because the people that Angus had slaughtered were from her tribe. So it would be very interesting when we go back there with her to see what happens.
That's cool. I like that. It's cool. Something different. It's absolutely cool. Piquing my interest now.
Yeah. Shannon's been lucky enough to go to Ireland one time. She's going back again.
Well, I've been to Scotland, and
Scotland,
I'm going to Ireland in July for 9 days. I'm going to stay at Spike Island and Lep Castle and all that stuff. It's a 9-day investigation tour. So I'm super excited about that. But now I'm like, okay, I got somewhere else on the list now. That's cool.
We'll look after you.
Okay. I don't know. That seems like everything down there in Australia tries to kill you, from what I understand. I think even the rabbits are dangerous down there.
Spiders. Oh my goodness, I've seen the spiders. Is it that bad, the spiders out there?
Yeah,
I see those trees just covered. Just there to freak you out.
Yeah.
I just see trees and shrub covered with it.
15 years, and I think I've seen 2 people in the whole time that I've been together.
Right.
It's really not that bad. Just watch out for the snakes.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, like here in Texas, we go out in the woods. We got to really be careful with the snakes. There's all kinds of snakes out here, different types and varieties. They're pretty bad. So like on your team, how many members do you have total on your team?
15.
15. Okay. Like
So
what
how
are their
many?
15?
Oh wow, that's a good.
So it consists of the 4 of us, and we also have a psychic medium that couldn't be with us today. We do the series, we do the investigations for the series, and then we have camera crew as well, and
Right.
that makes up part of the team. And we have editors. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty
Y'all
good.
got it together.
Someone just.
That's cool. It's hard to find a crew that can. Everybody, cause it's hard to find a tech guy that meshes well, has the availability. It's hard to find the cameramen, the researchers, the psychics, that everybody can mesh in, like, their schedules. And so, as I was saying, I respect that you have 15 that y'all all can just are used that work well together, because it's hard to get those dynamics and have people that can come through and you all work. So.
We are lucky. And we're like a family anyway. We're getting close, we work together closely, and we also, I call it family outside of work as well. So
Right.
We come together and when, you know, shit hits the fan, as we say in Australia, we're there. So,
We say it here too. That's
So like,
awesome. I respect that.
what's one of the more like creepier or scarier or even dangerous investigations you guys have done that have probably really uh, that have scared you guys?
I think each one of us will have their own that they felt all scared in. Mine would be the church at the old Gibbstown settlement. There's something not very nice in there, and it doesn't like me at all. So when we've gone and investigated there, I've been touched, and obviously I got angry, had to leave the room, felt sick. And the second time I went in there, we started reading from the Bible, a passage, and all the red pod was going off, and the millimeter, and the 666 came up. And that sort of made my hair stand on end because I've had a lot of experience with negative things. So, and then again, I felt really, really weak and sick and walked out of there. So that for me would be the scariest, as in investigating with the team. You guys, have a scariest part?
I don't think I would say I've been scared. I've been very, very uncomfortable. One time I was locked in a building of an asylum. Battery ran out. And that was pretty terrifying, being in a pitch black building that I wasn't familiar with. And the guy had gone out and left me in there just for 5 minutes, but it felt like about 5 hours.
Yeah.
But I personally haven't come across anything scary as such. Just more that disorientated, confused.
Yeah, and that can be gut wrenching in itself. Yeah, I've actually been in the woods and I got lost just for like a few minutes, and man, I felt that right in my gut. I was like, oh my god, you know. But at the last second, I snapped, and I never get phone service out there. And I just looked down on my phone and I looked at Google Maps and I saw where I should be heading, and I went in that direction. But yeah, I mean, for like just like a few minutes, I was like, man, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I'm lost now. Yeah.
Well, Tim's our skeptic on the team. He's a skeptic, so when he gets frightened, I actually like it.
yeah, it's real fun for you, right?
It's hot.
Jim, you?
Yeah, look, I don't think I've been anywhere that's really frightened me. I'm kind of one of these people that likes to on my own, pretty much. So yeah, I don't think there's anywhere that is really. I think just maybe Aradale is scary just because of its size. It's absolutely ginormous, and if you are to venture off on your own, which we didn't, you would get lost in there. Some of the stories that you hear about that place, like you were saying earlier, Shannon, I prefer not to know anything about the place when I go in, just because I don't need that preconceived notion that something's going to happen. But yeah, when you hear the stories of that place, it just freaks you out. So probably that. I'd like to go off on my own at some stage and do that.
I think mine's the same though, because Fuller and I experienced something in there, and in that moment, what happened was a negative wave. You just feel it. It just went, I was like, fight or flight, it's definitely flight. I was like, let's go. Let's go. But in saying that, I want to go back. So the adrenaline from that was so insane. And I'm like, oh my God, let's go back.
We had a cat ball that lights up, and we were sort of, on the floor and sort of throwing it between us, and it would stop. It stopped, and we asked it to touch it, and it did. It went off. The lights went off. But straight after that, we heard a big slam.
Oh yeah, the door just connected, and you felt it in your bum. You were sitting on the floor, and you felt that. So it was very
And we had the lights in the kitchen open as well. So after that, you could just feel the whole atmosphere change. There was no doors that were open or anything, so we knew it was time to walk out. So we have sensibility. We won't put ourselves in danger. for the
Yeah.
sake of not an awesome capture. We'd rather capture something that's real and we're not going to get hurt. So once we think, that's it, that's enough time to get out, someone's going to get hurt, we're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even to take breathers sometimes, it's like when it's time to step out, respect the
Yes.
spirits, have them, just take a break, then go back in.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you're feeling scared, you're not putting yourself in a very good situation to be in that situation anyway. So I think it's very important about self-care when investigating as well too.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
definitely got to have a plan ahead as well. And if you're
Well, like, what do your families think, or about you would investigating the paranormal? What kind of reaction has your family and friends given you?
mixed. I have some people that are extremely religious, and it's like what you're doing is the devil's work and all this kind of crap. And then I have, my family, my brother's a skeptic, but he won't come to any investigations because he thinks he'll get scared. And then, my mother, she's all for it. She's all for it now, which she wasn't before, but it's always be careful, be careful, be careful, that sort of thing. And look, I've lost some family because of the fact of what I do. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, this is who I am and this is what I do.
My 12-year-old daughter thinks it's the coolest thing to go out. There's so many friends that love the paranormal, so
Dream. They either love it. My mum is a big fan of what we do. My brother, on the other hand, thinks I've got two heads. They're skeptical, and then there's my brother. But most are very supportive, but I find it's very polarizing. They're either for it or very, very, you're insane. So, no ground for me.
Yeah, for me, the whole family loves it, so I don't really have any issues. My dad's the camera manager for the team, so we work alongside each other with that as well. So that's kind of cool. I get to do what we love together with my dad.
Yeah. When I first started doing all this, I started like I told you guys I was researching Bigfoot, and I started doing that in 2012. And at first, I didn't necessarily keep it a secret, but I just didn't broadcast it like I do now. But along the way, people would find out what I would do, and some people would kind of look at me like, like you got two heads, right? And then, but slowly but surely, people would come around and they would kind of tell me a little bit about their strange experience that they've had, like out in the woods, or maybe something that they've seen. So I started getting more into the paranormal and UFOs, and man, it's like people are calling me all the time now, sending me messages. Hey, I want to tell you about this. As a matter of fact, it was funny. Last week, my uncle actually called me and told me something that happened to him when he was younger. And just out of the blue, he called me. Hey, I was looking at your show, and I want to tell you about this. And he told me about something that happened today. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine called me up and it was like, hey, I was on YouTube. I was checking out paranormal stuff and scary stuff. And she goes, and I was looking. She goes, and I think I saw a picture of you come up. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. She said that she clicked on it and she saw all my YouTube channel, saw me on there. But it's just I think it's just funny how people can kind of come around and and then they'll wind up telling you stuff about what's happened to them, and you're not so weird after all, I guess.
My family is super supportive, like more than I thought they would be. I wouldn't be able to do as much as I do if it wasn't for their support. I mean, because I have a 3-year-old, and I mean, I'm on the road every single weekend from 2 to 3 days, and then yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's never have an issue with them saying anything, and they're absolutely just like I'm at my mom's right now, and my toddler keeps trying to run in here, but she's keeping them corralled, and it's just 100%. And that support's important. You know what I mean? It allows you to follow your passion and blossom and grow a lot more. So
So what are you guys hoping to accomplish in this field?
More than anything, it's for people to sort of be informed about what paranormal is. A lot of people don't, there's skeptics, there's believers, there's people that sit on the fence. So more than anything, what we're all trying to do, I guess, in this field is crack the code. It's like, what is there? Is it real? And a lot of people just assume that what they may be communicating with is, say, a child spirit. It may not be a child spirit. You can't have ignorance and do what you do. You've got to understand how things can go wrong, how things can pretend to be things that you want them to be, what harm can happen. That's most important to us. And also that it happens to everyday people. We investigate normal homes. Just if someone down the street you may know is playing something dangerous in there. So we help people ourselves. We get calls and we go out and we help them. So we teach them how to protect their homes. Some people are very, something negative in there, they'll get aggressive with it, which is not going to help you, that sort of thing. So more so it's education. We do it not just because we think it's fun. We do enjoy what we do. But we're also there for a reason. We're researchers. We're not just ghostbusters, as they say.
Gotcha.
You'd be surprised at some of the places we walk into, and it's devastating to hear that they've been dealing with this paranormal entity for so long, and it's affecting every part of their life. We've walked into situations where people are nearly divorcing each other because there's so much is going on. You walk away and you help them, and then you hear the story of we're happy, we're better, we're going to move on with our lives, and that's such a great feeling.
Yeah, that's probably where we are most satisfied, when we've been able to help a family or someone that's experiencing issues.
And there are a lot of cases as well. It's not always you just walk into a house that they're having paranormal experiences. It's mental health issues and all the other things that go alongside whatever they're experiencing. It's not always the paranormal, and people need to understand that as well. They need to have a deeper knowledge of what's actually going on.
Yeah, they can be creating their own environment.
Correct, exactly. And we do help these people. We don't just go and investigate and leave. If people need help, mentally, we'll get them in touch with the right people. If an exorcist is involved, we'll get in touch with the right people. And if there's more healing, spiritual healing to happen, we'll do that as well.
It's me. I'm in my Halloween costume. I'm like, I wasn't gonna do anything. I was supposed to go to Ballinger to Old Park Hotel to help with their haunted house for for people to come in. But wow. Welcome back, Joe.
Yeah, I keep losing connection with you guys. I'm sorry.
It's all right. We held it down.
Okay, good. Thank you. I can appreciate that.
I was gonna go to Ballinger, but by the time I left Louisiana, there was no way I would have made it there on time. I would have been getting there hours after everybody was getting in makeup and everything. And I was like, maybe I should just take a night and relax. And so I let Joe know. I was like, well, I'm actually going home. There's no way I can make it there in time to the location. And he was like, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, always. And so then a friend of mine was like, want me to come out to a Halloween costume contest. And it's right down the street. I thought I'd do that for an hour because I don't ever go out and do anything besides investigate. So that's why I'm sitting here in a costume. So. But Joe, did you dress up this year? You hear me, Joe?
Yeah, but everyone's breaking up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Including you.
We can hear both of you clearly.
What was that?
We can hear both of you very clearly.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you guys are breaking. I was going to ask you a question just right now. You talked about like going out and helping people. I think sometimes people get the misconception that it's always somebody crazy who's seeing things or hearing things. And you said earlier, it's normal everyday people, right? You know, it's people who probably were skeptical at first. You know, and can you talk a little bit about that? How like just normal everyday people, you know, experience this stuff and how they would approach you guys.
I think when you meet someone and you say to them, I'm a paranormal investigator, they go, what, well, I've had this experience, and I'm having this experience in that room. But they don't feel comfortable enough in sharing that with you. So when you go into places like that and they start saying, well, I was hearing voices, and the first thing you say to them is, well, you're not going, because you want to make them feel comfortable enough to express themselves and tell you everything that's going on. Sometimes it's mental health, sometimes it's paranormal. You never know exactly what it's doing. But I think there isn't a lot of support for paranormal.
And we always have a checklist. I mean, some people are suffering mentally, it could like schizophrenia, that sort of stuff, where they are hallucinating, or they're in an environment where there's a lot of violence. So you know, create their own negative energy. So there's a lot of questions asked before we go out and even see the people. And once we're there, we do the investigation and sort it out and see which way it actually is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys probably get your share of places that probably aren't haunted or don't have paranormal activity. Is just you know, explainable things, but people, you know, get scared easily sometimes, and it's always nice to help those people out too. You know.
Yeah, there's people too that are, you know, very bad drug abusers or have had extreme trauma in their lives. All that sort of stuff, you know, creates something. They have attachments, that sort of stuff. So
Okay.
again, it's trying to educate people that, you know, what you're doing and the way you're feeling and you're not getting help and all that trauma, you're creating energy yourself. It's like a poltergeist. You create that energy yourself. So that's the part. It's interesting to see how people perceive something to be paranormal. And some people who have something paranormal in their home think there's nothing there, or it's just their mind. That can happen in the reverse as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
extremely interesting. Yeah, every case is different.
Yeah, you know, I've told Shannon about a friend of mine. He moved into a house and where a gentleman had committed suicide, and he started kind of like playing around and joking around, and I think he actually like invoked something to come into his house. He started flashing the lights off and on in his house. He was trying to scare his wife. Jack's going to get you. Jack's going to get you, which is the name of the gentleman that had committed suicide. Shortly after that, I mean, all kinds of wild stuff started happening to his house. You know, he would see like a man in a hat and a long coat walking down this hallway. His father-in-law actually saw this same figure standing outside, you know, his house, checking out his house. You know, he saw it one day. He was parked in his driveway. It was late at night, and he saw it walk across the window. You know, the lights would come off and on in his house. The ceiling fans would turn on full blast. The AC would get low, like 60 degrees. And, you know, he had his daughter physically attacked. She was like 3 years old, knocked out her front tooth, you know. So he blamed himself for that. He did. He says, man, I should have never done that. You know, they didn't stay in the house much longer after that, you know. So I think
Well,
people
that's
something.
inviting. That's inviting something. So this is where some people don't understand that you can unknowingly invite something in. So saying something like that, obviously, you know, open the door.
Right, yeah. And it didn't like it. It didn't like being taunted, I don't think, you know, whatever it had. No. Yeah, he said when his daughter's tooth got knocked out, it didn't just get knocked out, but you know, like the top part of your gum, because it came out this way, you know, so like it tore the top part of her gum. And just like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know, she was like on a toddler bed, so it was only like 1 feet off the ground, and she was laying down face down, and they couldn't find her tooth. They didn't know where her tooth was at. It was like 10 feet away from her, you know. So, yeah.
That's some force right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
don't mess with my babies.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. A lot of people create that stuff and don't know they're doing it, and then that's when we have to come in and explain to them and like, okay, let's learn a lesson here, like what's up, and how to to help that spirit pass on, and people just don't know. But yeah, when especially with something as traumatic as suicide, that energy is just, whew, yeah, I've dealt with that.
A lot of people start to get that little bit of activity, spikes that interest, and then they keep going and going and going. It's causing all this energy to blow up, and then it gets to the point where it's a haunting. And it's like, well, you can't ever stop.
Yeah.
So do you guys have like any kind of advice you would give to like a newcomer, somebody who wanted to get into this field? You know, somebody who is like completely green, has no idea about the paranormal, but they want to investigate it. What would you tell them?
Research.
What was
Do
that?
your homework. Research. Do your
Oh, research.
homework. Yeah, get a good understanding of what paranormal actually means. You know, the equipment that we use or don't use. How can that affect communication? Maybe find a mentor, someone who's been in it for a while, who can teach you. Otherwise, going in there stupidly and blindly, you're opening yourself up to all sorts of things to happen and things to follow you home, and you get attachments. So, yeah, like I said, we have some cowboys down here that will just jump in, and they're young roots that think that they know everything, and then they're looking for help. So,
Yeah. So speaking of equipment, what would you recommend them get, like for starters?
Keep it simple to begin with. A voice recorder is probably the best way to start. Sitting in a room and just recording is probably the best thing. What else? Yeah, your electromagnetic field detectors. You pay 2 meters. They're on sort of all your ghost hunting shows. But for people starting, keep it simple. Voice recorder, notepad, lots of batteries so you don't get caught out. And
But your body,
everybody.
yeah, that's your best indicator. Is yourself and your gut instinct and all the
Okay,
rest.
and the other mistake that some people make with their K2 meters, or their REM pods, they have them too close to electrical appliances. You know, we turn off from the mains, we will turn off all electricity in the building. So we'll do a sweep. So most people don't go into a sweep. You can see where they still might be getting some activity in the wall from electrical stuff. Otherwise, you'll be walking around and it's not paranormal, it's something electrical in the wall. You know? So the best way is electricity, everything off.
When people do live casts of investigations that they're doing, please don't use those pieces of equipment, your EMF readers, because the live cast actually sets those things off, so you get a false reading. It's not real. And that's what really frustrates me when you watch these lives of investigations and they're not using the equipment properly. That's why I say do research.
Yeah, and just like false readings on SLSs. And I'm learning this. I'm getting really to where divining rods are my go-to. But I've learned if you put those in a newbie's hands, it kind of teaches them in a way how to communicate with the spirits and interact with them. And it's going to start building that understanding and that trust with spirits, if that makes any sense. So I've been doing that lately, just handing them some divining rods and teaching them how to use them. And that's how take them home. Get yourself a set, take them home, play with them a little bit, get used to it, build a bond with your rods and everything. And that kind of, I guess, builds them a little bit more of a respect for spirits. And when they're investigating, it also kind of helps them know what questions to ask because they start carrying on a conversation. Does that make sense? With the rods.
Yeah, I was there that night. Y'all had them. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I use them quite often. So they led me into the woods last night. Everybody said don't go, but I went. It's like,
That's good. Yeah, I think probably another good piece of advice is probably get permission everywhere you go too, right?
yes,
That's
and getting charges.
Yeah.
But it all just comes down to respect. Like, you have to respect spirit, you have to respect the location. Respect is a big thing in the paranormal field.
Yeah. I think you're right about the respect part. I think people underestimate that. You know, they don't understand that part until it's too late. You know, that was the one thing I was talking about. You know, the house that I was living in, it never really bothered us, so we really never bothered it. You know, does that make sense? We never really like went looking for it or trying to mess with it or trying to, you know, invite anything more. We just kind of let it do what it wanted to do, and it was just it didn't bother us, and we didn't bother it really. That's just how we kind of lived with it, you know. And, yeah. But you know, guys, we keep breaking up here and there, and I've already lost you guys a couple of times. I think we're going to cut this just a little short, if you guys don't mind. Yeah.
Technology. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You know, I was trying to go on as long as we can, but I keep losing somebody every now and then. But you guys want to promote your page real quick?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. It's Paranormal Adventures Australia and website as well. Just jump on and have a look at what we do. We put up articles when our events are on, and when we air our episodes.
I checked out your website. It was pretty cool. I like the setup. I'm actually working on a website for myself right now. Hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll have it up. And I don't know if you guys are members of my group, but it's it's Beyond the Way. I've actually have two pages. One's Beyond the Woodline fan page. The other one's Beyond the Woodline podcast page. But if you go to the fan page, you can post whatever you guys want. If you guys have activities or videos you want to post, or you guys want to promote yourself, man, feel free to do it. You're more than welcome.
We have some good YouTube episodes with some great locations, so it would be good to do that one, especially with the Australian location.
Cool, man. Well, all right, like I said, man, we keep breaking up, so I guess we're going ahead and end it here. You guys hold on real quick.
They were interesting. I wanted to talk more, but it was so hard to communicate. I'm like, so I'm gonna friend you guys. I already liked your page right before we got on the show, and so I want to learn a lot more about investigating in Australia because it's just so different, and so I want to check it out.
Yeah.
But thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I said we'll communicate better one day. So,
yeah, you guys hold on
happy
real quick.
Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone in the chat room too for participating. I really appreciate that too.